So in this video, we're gonna be talking about style when it comes to our dance. To me, style really boils down to how you do something. And I think if we can really tap into this idea of analyzing not just what we're doing, but how we're doing it, we'll be able to cultivate a lot of originality and creativity within our personal practice. So let's just go ahead and hop into it. So like I said, when we talk about style, I really think a lot of it has to do with the way that we approach the things that we're doing. And this can apply to things other than dance, you know, like when you hear people say something like, oh, that's just not my style. Usually they're talking about a way that someone did something. Maybe not the thing that they did specifically, but the way in which they did it. And so today we're gonna get a little bit more introspective, and instead of thinking about so much what we're doing, we're gonna think about how we're doing it. And I think it's important that we start with sort of a definition or just an understanding of what style is. So like we've said multiple times already, to me, style is all about how you do something. You could think about it in the context of clothing. Everybody works with the same stuff. We all work with shirts, pants, shoes, and hats. The difference that we find in people's styles is all based on how they utilize those items in their own individual ways. You might wear a hat, but how are you wearing the hat? Are you wearing it backwards? Are you wearing it forwards? Do you roll your pants at the bottom or do you leave them all the way down? Same what, different how. And I think that the same idea applies with dance. Anybody can do just a basic top rock, utilizing the most foundational variation of the idea, which is not bad. But I think that as we progress as dancers, it's important to tap into not just what we're doing, the top rock. I think it's very important to tap into how we're doing it. How do we stylize the step and make it our own? And I think that one simple reason for why this is a good idea is if everybody did things the exact same way, that would be pretty boring. And so I feel like a big part of cultivating your style is cultivating your originality. This idea of letting the things that make you who you are guide the way that you approach things, I think can be super helpful and is honestly critical when it comes to being original and giving your practice just that extra layer of you, that extra personality. Nobody wants to see everybody do a step the exact same way. There's a time and a place to be synchronistic and to kind of blend with others better. And there's also a time and place to let your originality show a little bit more. And I think for me, one of the biggest benefits that I've found in exploring my own style is the creativity that it's afforded me. I don't have to be like everybody else. Yeah, I may be doing a step that somebody else created and that everybody utilizes, but I do it in my own way. And that not only makes it unique, but it also makes it a little bit more fun. So I have a couple thoughts that I think will be helpful as we move forward with this idea. And the first one being this: style is about tapping into your natural responses to information. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're in class and you're told to do this sequence of steps: kick, ball, change, kick, ball, change, crossover, crossover. I think it's super easy to get caught in this monotonous repetition of steps or repetition of information. But in my experience, the greatest dancers that I have known and seen are the ones who are able to take any step, any information that is presented with them, and to execute it in a way that makes sense for them and in a way that communicates something about who they are to those watching them. And so it's kind of just like we've been saying, style is your approach. Style is your response. How do you respond to information or to ideas that are presented to you? Do you just copy and paste, trying to replicate in a very robotic and inhuman manner the information that you've been given? Or do you take that information, internalize it, and let that interpretation of what you think that should look like guide the way that you approach things? And I think that that's a huge part about style and what makes cultivating your style so valuable. As dancers, we truthfully are all working with the same information, more or less. The same foundational ideas, the same technique, the same exercises. And in light of that, I've become convinced of how important it is to tap into something a little bit deeper than simply what you're doing. Everybody has the same what, but not everybody has the same how. So I feel like we've established the idea of style a little bit clearer. Now we're gonna talk about a couple of ways that we as dancers and individuals can understand our own style better. These are ideas that I have actually used personally to cultivate the style that I am continuing to cultivate within my dance to this day. The first idea being exploring your own movement. I think that tapping into our own movement and pulling inspiration from the different things that we like or the things that we don't like can really give us a clear picture of, at the very least, what our natural style for moving is. And maybe the things that you find when you do this will not be super refined ideas. Maybe you won't feel like your style is super clear or clean or good, but I think at the very least, this exercise allows you to explore who you are and also who you are not. And I think that knowing both is crucial to cultivating an authentic style. As you explore your own movement, notice the things that you like about it. Notice the things that you don't like about it, the things that you think that you're really good at, and the things that you think need work. Pay attention to your tendencies. How do you naturally respond to the way that music sounds? When you're asked to improv or to move on your own, what images come to your mind that help inspire your movement? These are all things and ideas that you can think through as you explore your own movement that I think will help to give us a better understanding of who we are as dancers and also how we want to dance. What about your own movement inspires you? Now, you may feel like there's nothing about your movement that inspires you, and that's okay. Simply working through the ways that you naturally move, at the very least, will help give you an idea of who you are and where you're at. The second way that I think we can start to understand our style more is by observing others. Think about the people that you look up to as dancers. What is it about the way that they dance that you like and that you're drawn to? How can you analyze the methods that they use and the ideas that they play around with their own movement in a way that allows you to utilize those ideas yourself? In this day and age, observing people that we are inspired by is probably one of the easiest things we can possibly do. And so I think taking advantage of that is extremely valuable. Spend some time studying the people that you're inspired by. Whether you look on social media or you do research on the internet, take some time to watch the people that you are drawn to. Spending time analyzing the choreographers and the dancers that I have looked up to personally has taught me so much and has helped me to understand better what it is in myself that I am drawn to and what it is in them that I want to emulate with my own movement. As you're exploring and analyzing other people's movement and the ways that they approach dance, you don't simply have to watch individual people. Exploring and analyzing different styles, different companies, different crews, all of these can provide valuable information as you study movement that inspires you. Maybe you're super inspired by breaking vocabulary and the way that breakers dance. Analyze what it is about breaking that you're drawn to. Try to think critically about it. What is it about this that you like? How can you incorporate the ideas within this style into your own style to cultivate your own voice more and more? Now, I think that there's a lot of traps that we can fall into when it comes to studying other people who inspire us. We can get caught up in comparison or in feeling defeated because we are not where they are at. And I really hope that as you do this exercise and as you're analyzing these people who inspire you, that you would not allow yourself to feel defeated by the progress that they have made. Allow yourself to be filled up by watching them rather than to be drained by watching them. I think another trap that's easy to fall into is sometimes in the pursuit of emulating an aspect of a person's movement that we are drawn to, we can sometimes unfortunately fall into blatantly copying exactly what they're doing. Now, I will say it is not always bad to copy something that someone is doing. That's not inherently bad, but I do feel like it's important to remember your own originality and not to forget to tap into your own ideas. The purpose of observing other people's movement that we're drawn to and that inspires us is not to cause us to become them. It is rather to give us the opportunity to observe what it is that we like about what they're doing so as to teach us something new about who we are and our own approach to dance. I think I may have said this before on the channel, but there's a difference between emulating and mimicking. And there's a time and place for mimicking. There's a time and place for doing things exactly how you're being instructed to do them. But I think the greatest dancers and the people that are the most fun to watch when they dance are people who have taken what they've been told to do, understood it, and then taken it a step further. People who have learned to utilize their own voice. And to me, a big part of learning to utilize your voice as a dancer is learning to tap into who you are and thus tap into your own personal style, which is why I think that this is such a valuable idea. I hope that these ideas have illustrated how valuable it is to explore your own style. That's gonna pretty much do it for this video. Today we talked a lot about the conceptual idea behind your style and how it can influence the way that you dance. Next week, we're gonna have a part 2 of this video, and we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into some practical ways that we can continue to explore our style and to just incorporate this kind of exploration into our practice more regularly so that we can continue to cultivate our own style. Like we said at the beginning, we as dancers are really all working with the same what, and it's up to us as individuals to explore and to dive deeper into the how. Thank you guys so much for your support and for watching all the way through this video. Be sure to check in next week for part 2. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Ooh.